to invite the ambassador, Her Excellency Beatriz Valle Marichal from Honduras, who's the president pro tempore from the SICA region, to say a few opening remarks. Over to you.
Muy buenos días, mucho gusto a todos.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Our Excellencies and myself, I would like to welcome you to this webinar that ICA was so generous to organize in their offices and with their resources so that we can all have a chance to learn about specialty coffee in our region. Of course, thank you and your team for all the work that you are doing and for the cooperation that you always offer, not only today. And well, you know that coffee is a very important sector for our countries and our production. And I would say that this is one of the most important exporting products as well. We are preparing different specialty coffees with added value so that we just don't send the coffee grain. And this event will focus on that, as you already know. And each country will explain a little further about how they manage their industry. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that this SICA webinar is very useful to you and also to our friends and all the ambassadors. I hope that you can really portray the importance of coffee for us. Thank you, Jean-Charles, and thank you, everyone, and I hope that you enjoy this session.
Sincere thanks, Your Excellency, for those wonderful opening remarks. I get this question all the time. So the way we organize the format of the webinar, we don't introduce the speakers. All of their bios will be available in the chat. You will see that we will do a series of countries. After each country, there's a short video of coffee, of their product. And so we'll go on to the next country, and that at the end, in about a week's time, we will make this webinar available on the ICA Canada webpage in Costa Rica, so that people can watch the entire webinar in English and Spanish and share it with their colleagues in industry, people in government. So I will now then invite Costa Rica to start, starting with Francisco Andrés Peda Fallas and Jorge David Ortiz Naranjo.
Muy buenos días, un gusto saludarlos. Mi nombre es Andrés
Good
Piedra.
morning, everyone. I'm Andrés Piedra Fallas, Coffee Promotion Manager in Costa Rica, and I would like to thank IICA for this invitation. I will start with my presentation. In Costa Rica, we have 26,725 coffee farmers, and I would say that 85% produce less than 100 quintals of coffee, and less than 100, as I said. So this is a very impactful activity in our country. We have 307 companies that are a part of our value chain, and also we have 98 exporting companies and 55 roasting companies. Therefore, many of our farmers have verticalized in the entire value chain. They moved from producers to companies. They are exporting, and actually they are having their own roasting and coffee companies in the countries. And in Costa Rica, we have several coffee regions in the northern area, in Guanacaste, the Western Valley, the central area, Los Santos, Turrialba, Pérez Celedón, and Cotobruz. Each one of them have their specific characteristics. And when talking about the quality of our coffee in Costa Rica, we say that Costa Rica makes 100 Arabica coffee. And in terms of varieties, we have Caturra, Catuai. However, we've been moving forward with other specialties such as Obata and also some more exotic ones such as geisha. Fortunately, in our country, we've been migrating also to other varieties that are more resistant to plagues and diseases, and also with higher levels of productivity, and also with a very high quality. In Costa Rica, we have standardized processes all over the industrial area, and we call these coffee benefits to those who make the fruit into an exporting grain. So we have our standardized processes that allow for all processes, thermal, anaerobic, and even the washing, which is the most traditional one in our country, to be standardized in the different regions, in cooperatives, in micro companies, etc. And in our country, we have Law 2762, which is the law that set forth the creation of the Coffee Institute in Costa Rica, which is a body that is funded by the sector. It is not a public institution because the very own coffee sector is funding this Coffee Institute. And this law has three main functions: research and transference in order to take care of all the topics related to research and transfer to the productive and exporting sectors in order to work towards the standardization of processes so that we can offer the quality that we have in Costa Rica all over the world. And this law also makes us work with the entire sector with good farming practices in the entire value chain, at the farms, at the companies, all over our value chain. And we keep on working with precision agriculture, and we are also moving forward in order to serve young people and women as well, giving value also to the last stages, also including barismo and coffee tasting. And 79.3% of each dollar per coffee exported gets to the pockets of producers, and those working in the industrialization obtain 16.9% and exporters 1.9. And the Coffee Institute in Costa Rica receives 1.5 of each dollar exported, and the Coffee Sustainability National Fund, which is the branch that gives financial assistance, receives 0.5%. So for us, we have quality coffee, safe coffee for those working at the farms and their families in terms of how safe it is for them to work in coffee picking. We have an insurance policy covering 100% of the risk for all of them working in the farms. Also, we did our first export following the Green Covenant in Europe. We have also coffee low in emissions. We also have what we call Casas de la Alegría, which is places where we can take care of the children of farmers. And also for us, it is very important to have technological tools. It is worth highlighting that we are working in a holistic way for the financial sustainability, environmental sustainability, and social sustainability of our sector, where we have actions that we do in parallel in order to have quality, quantity, and for us to be able to offer to the world our traditional coffee from Costa Rica, which is very well known, but also with more and more social and environmental actions. This is my contact information, Francisco Andres Piedrafayas. I'm at your disposal. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And this is David Ortiz, the Deputy Manager. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Excellent presentation, Francisco. Thanks for that. And actually the deforestation in Europe is affecting commodities around the world, not just coffee. So it's great to see that you are ahead of the curve. I wanted to, before we go to the video, Jessica, I'm gonna invite Marcela Porras from the private sector, from Café Robla, Sabana, to say a few words. Or do you want to do the video now, Jessica? Okay.
El café significa familia, tradición, legado, costumbres, comunidad y un gran sentimiento de responsabilidad, no solo hacia mi familia, hacia mí misma y a mis colaboradores, sino que también hacia el consumidor.
Bueno, yo crecí en una finca de café pequeñita, medianita, y cuando estaba niño siempre andaba ahí probando guayabas, andaba probando nancies, nísperos y todas las cosas se me han ido grabando en mi memoria sensorial. Eso ha ido trascendiendo en mi vida hasta hoy en día, que tengo el placer y la dicha de percibir muchas de esas notas en una taza de café a través de la catación. Entonces te puedo decir que el café es mi vida.
Aquí yo creo que lo más importante es, tanto yo como todos los que trabajamos en el negocio del café en Costa Rica, amamos lo que hacemos y no nos podemos imaginar haciendo ninguna otra cosa.
Yo le diría a nuestros compradores que cuando compra café de Costa Rica está llevando un paquete completo, o sea, está llevando calidad, está llevando trazabilidad, está llevando transparencia, cumplimiento de contratos, responsabilidad ambiental, responsabilidad social y contribución a que los productores vivan de una forma digna.
En Costa Rica usted obtiene todo, con todos los diferentes procesos que ofrecemos, las diferentes variedades que ofrecemos, los diferentes climas y microclimas que ofrecemos. El abanico de opciones es interminable y lo mejor de todo es todo bajo las mejores prácticas agrícolas y con la mayor transparencia en el mercado.
Yo le diría a un comprador que no ha tenido el gusto de probar café de Costa Rica, pues que se anime, a sabiendas que muy probablemente vaya a querer seguir comprándonos por muchos años más, porque el café de Costa Rica engloba todas aquellas características que uno puede buscar en un café. Engloba la responsabilidad que tenemos hacia el ambiente en cuanto a hacer una producción sostenible, contempla el tema de la calidad y contempla todos los sabores que nos caracteriza como país.
A reminder, if you have any questions for the speakers, you can use the chat, and you can use the videos will be also posted in the chat so you can see them in full. I believe from Costa Rica, we have Marcela Porras, the lead for Café Robla Sabana from the private sector from Costa Rica. Over to you.
Buenos días. Muchas gracias por la
Good
oportunidad.
morning. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak in this webinar. For us, it is very important to be here. I will share my screen now.
Vamos a ver. ¿Me avisan si están viendo mi pantalla?
Can you please let me know if you can see my screen? Yes, we see it. Thank you.
Mi nombre es Marcela Porras.
Okay, my name is Marcela Porras. I'm the co-founder together with my sister Adrienne, and I'm the director of Café Robles Sabana. We are a female company working with women in the Costa Rican's coffee industry. And I would like to show a brief video that summarizes who we are.
Este es nuestro país, Costa Rica.
This is our country, Costa Rica.
Ella es mi hermana. Y esta
This
es
is my sister, and this is me.
Estamos trabajando en la industria del café.
We are working in the coffee industry. We've been working since 2009, and in 2015, we started our own specialty coffee business, Café Robles Sabana. And we gave this name because of the gorgeous Costa Rican pink flowered oak trees that used to be present in coffee farms in Costa Rica. We are a female company, and our delicious specialty coffees are produced by women in Tarrazú, Naranjo, and Sabanilla de Alajuela. We want you to meet the producers of our wonderful coffees. This is Robles Sabana, the specialty coffee brand of Costa Rica.
Bueno, entonces les contaba que nosotros somos un
Fortalece las defensas intestinales para protegerlos en el regreso a clases.
There's this crazy idea that's blowing up on TikTok, and it's a
Perdón.
Sorry for that.
Se quitó el audio.
The audio has been removed, right?
Gracias.
We can hear you.
Nosotros somos una
Oh, okay.
empresa de mujeres que
So
trabajamos
we
con
are a
mujeres
micro
en,
company working with
café de
women
especialidad.
in
Eh,
specialty
nosotros,
coffee.
desde
We,
comenzamos con Robles
ever
Habanas,
since we
somos
started
Alianza
with
de
Robles
Mujeres en
Habana,
Café.
we've been part of
Esta
the
es una organización mundial
Alliance of
que
Women in
engloba a mujeres
Coffee. This is
trabajando
a global
alrededor
organization that includes
Yo
women
personalmente
who work
empecé en el
in the
mundo del café en el
productive chain
2009.
of coffee. And I myself started with coffee in 2009. And I was the person in charge of international promotion in the international coffee body in Costa Rica. And at that point, I got in touch with producers, exporters. I got my barista certification. I did cupping courses, and I learned a lot about coffee because I truly fell in love with coffee. And also, I got to respect and love the work of farmers here in Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, we have a lot of people working in innovation in farms and at the companies as well. And we receive a lot of people here in Costa Rica that come in order to learn from these women working in the coffee industry. And our purpose is to give visibility to their work. And let me tell you about the farms that we work with. They are all owned by women. And this is not just because we wanted for this to happen. It's not that we just want to work with women, but naturally and organically, we started working with those women that are a part of the Global Alliance of Women in Coffee. And therefore, when managing all this work, we got to work with women. Some of these farms are part of the project called Nama Café, which is the carbon neutral project for coffee in Costa Rica. There are some sustainability certifications like Rainforest Alliance. And recently, one of the farms that we work with received a regenerative agriculture certification. And this is what we are focusing in. As I said, we work towards gender equality in order to give visibility to the role of women in agriculture. And we believe that it is very important to give visibility to the work of women at the farm and also in the companies.
We also work with quality, base quality in our coffees. We cure our coffee. This means that we curate them, we select the grains and the batches with which we work, and we only work with high quality coffees. This has been backed up by cupping scores. We are constantly cupping our coffee throughout the year in order to ensure its quality. The final or end product has a traceability up to the original farm. Also, it's an artisanal product. We roast the coffee in small batches in order to provide its unique profile, depending on the golden coffee. It can be a green coffee, golden coffee, and we provide a particular and specific roasting for each. So let me tell you a little bit about how we work. We tell our story, the Robles Habana story, in our packages.
Sobre cafés de
So,
especialidad, podemos decir que se reconocen
on the side of specialty coffees, we can say that they are acknowledged because their cupping is of over 80 points based on the ratings by the Specialty Coffees Association from California. We work with that protocol that they have. And for example, in this packaging, you can see that we not only show the coffee region of origin, rather we also show the traceability, the name of the farm where the coffee was grown, in this case, the mountain, Daniela Gutierrez, the cupping score, and other
que trabajamos, que
Roble Sabana Tarrazú, detailed information. In this case, for example, it's a 100% wash coffee. You see the altitude at which the coffee is harvested and the variety as well.
Gracias. Esta es nuestra colección.
Thank you.
Roble Sabana.
This is our
con 4 fincas base.
Roble Sabana collection. We work with 4 basic farms with different cup profiles, different regions, and also different beneficiary products and processes. We also have special editions like Geisha, Alma Negra, which is the natural one, Double Diamond with an anaerobic coffee, and an SL28/Geisha blend. We are proud of the International Women's Coffee Alliance. We are also the PIMES certified and women-owned company. These is our contact details, and we wait for you at www.roblesabanacoffee.com, where you have plenty of information about us. Thank you so much. Thank you. If you could put your website on the chat box, that would be great. We are over 80 participants at the moment, so it would be great for you to put that. Next, we will hear about the Salvadorian coffee. We will hear Mauricio Sansivirini. He's the president of the Salvadorian Coffee Institute. Hello, everyone. Thank you for all these great initiatives. From the beginning of the Institute's creation, we've had the support of ICA here in El Salvador, and we're extremely happy and proud of being able to introduce to you the El Salvadorian coffee, a very special coffee. Let me tell you a little bit about our coffee. In El Salvador, we hadn't been a part of the Institute working with innovation, transference, and research on coffee. And we've been creating this institute for 2 years, so we're working on all of that now. We could talk about the Salvadorian coffee by saying that virtually around the year 1779 was when coffee was introduced to El Salvador. So somehow this gives us a very long-standing tradition and experience and culture with regards to coffee in our country. Our production started in the western region of El Salvador, where we have the largest mountain range, the Ilamatepec mountain range, Apaneca and Ilamatepec. That's where initially coffee was grown, and then it expanded throughout the country. We have different processes, washed, semi-washed, honey, and natural processes for coffee, and some other experimental processes that are now being worked on. Considering all the results that we've had with our work in coffee, we can say that the latest Excellence Cup, which was awarded 2 weeks ago, and out of the 30 winners, we had 10 presidential coffees, that is above 90 points. This year, it was divided into 3 categories. The first one was the honey and wash process. The second category was for natural coffee. And the third category was for experimental coffees. As I said, virtually the first 3 positions and a 4th position actually got over 90 points. As I said, we have different processes, treatment processes that are extremely controlled. We have over 80 benefits registered throughout the country, and these are the ones that are processing the whole of the national production, which is about 800,000 quintals. This ensures for extremely controlled and standardized production processes, so we can ensure the quality of the product when it is exported out of our country. As per a study carried out a couple of years ago, this study said that we had a longer shelf life vis-a-vis other countries and other origins. Some of our main varieties are Pacamara. Pacamara tree is a big leaf tree, dark green with end golden and green terminals or points. It has a dense foliage, and it's also resilient to wind and other pests. It's a long, elongated fruit. This is a variety that was genetically developed in El Salvador. This development took about 30 years. This was a really traditional process, so to speak. I think Carol Gamboa will surely explain a little bit about this because he knows much. And it was created between 1950 and 1980, this variety, Pacamara. One of its more relevant traits, apart from it being the mutation between Maragogipe rojo and the Pacas variety is a variety that is a natural mutation from the variety of Bourbon, which was found at the Santa Ana volcano farm. So we worked on this mutation and that gave birth to Pacamara. It is quite an exotic variety with intense floral and fruital aroma. Generally, we talk about acidity, but I'd rather use the term citric flavors, right? Very brilliant, a dense and juicy body, and with notes of jasmine and even pineapple or apricot. We're currently working within our institute to prepare a roasting manual for Pacamara variety. Depending on the height at which the grain is harvested, then the densities change. So the grain, in order to be roasted, needs to be analyzed particularly. Then we also have the Apaneca Ilamatepec variety, and each of the mountain ranges has their own very defined cup profiles. We have the Apaneca Ilamatepec mountain range, which is very chocolatey with sweet and floral notes, a medium body, high intensity, creamy body. It's citric and brilliant acidity. This is very clean in terms of the aftertaste. Generally speaking, almost all of the single origin coffees in Salvador have this clean taste as a main feature. Also, the mountain range coffees are quite sweet with honey and caramel notes. Out of the 6 mountain ranges, we could say that 40% of the area is covered by the Apaneca Ilamatepec one. Then we also have the Alotepec Metapan mountain range. This is quite a flagship area. We have lots of Pacamara coffee there, and there's also quite a specific production of this variety. The aroma is red berries, florals, spices, jasmine. The body is silky, velvety, round. As for the acidity, it's citric, tartar, juicy. The residual flavor here is very caramelly, very sweet and prolonged. Moving on, we will share this presentation so that you can have the information firsthand, and then you're able to purchase whatever you want from every mountain range. You should really purchase them all. We also have the El Bálsamo Quesaltepec mountain range that is located in the paracentral part of the country. The aromas are quite plummy, caramel, dried grapes, and then a smooth and creamy body with a citric and subtle acidity, a pleasant and nice residual taste with black tea flavors. The Chichontepec mountain range to the eastern part of the republic has an aroma of chocolate, medium intensity, and creamy texture. There's a citric and brilliant and sharp acidity. The flavors is chocolate, orange, and slight notes of passion fruit. We also have the Tepacachinameca mountain range with chocolatey aromas, floral, and mostly jasmine aroma. That's a very round body and silky texture. As for the flavors, we have chocolate, red wine, peach. We also have some nutmeg and mamey and apricot and pineapple flavors, residual prolonged flavors. And as for the notes, we have honey, figs, and orange mostly. In terms of the Cacahuatique mountain range, we have chocolate aroma, caramel, citric, and spices. It's quite creamy. It's got a citric acidity, a medium intensity, flavor of chocolate and spices. And in spite of the cup seeming a little bit simpler than the other mountain ranges, I can tell you that the Cacahuatique single origin coffee is quite exotic due to the intensity of their flavors. A residual taste that is sweet and dark chocolatey and caramel-like notes. In spite of there not being so many descripting factors here, the flavors are quite defined and prolonged. Let me tell you about the fact that within our value chain, we create over 200,000 direct job positions a year. And as for other relevant information that I can provide to you, because I have to say this, it's important for me to say this, and that is that 85% of our exports are labeled as differentiated coffee. This is just to give you an idea that the Salvadorian coffee is extremely special. I'm sure that the best coffee for you is the one you like the most, but I am sure as well that the Salvadorian coffee, you will love it. Thank you for your presentation, Mauricio. I will invite now our colleagues to play the El Salvador coffee video. El Salvador, a land of coffee.
Producimos con orgullo para que sea lo mejor. Aquí vivimos el café. Ese grano de oro que cultivamos con el corazón. Ese aroma único que es nuestro y nos caracteriza. Ese sabor que millones de personas compartimos dentro y fuera de nuestras fronteras. Desde hoy, el mundo puede disfrutar el sabor de nuestro país en una sola marca. Café de El Salvador. Simplemente especial.
Sí, el café es tan especial en Canadá que es la bebida
Coffee is so special in Canada that it's the most important beverage in the country, above water. Well, if I may, yes, I understand that. We understand that coffee provides you with the level of antioxidants that you need per day. 3 cups a day will give you that level. We'll leave the contact details of our institution here. We are at your service for whatever you need. We are convinced that interinstitutional cooperation efforts are fundamental. We will eventually help us change people's quality of life. In our institution, we know that a support program that doesn't really change people's life is pointless. What I've seen in the projects that we've been a part of with ICA is that we're changing lives, and that's the whole point. Great. Thank you, Mauricio. Thank you so much. We will now move on to Guatemala with Guatemala's differential coffees with Sergio Mazariegos. Sergio, you have the floor. Good day to you all. Can you hear me? Yes, we can. Thank you. It is a pleasure for me to be here. I will be telling you about Guatemalan differential coffee.
Guatemala tiene una tradición de café de más de 100 años.
Guatemala has an over 100-year tradition of coffee. We are part of the Guatemalan Coffee Exporters Association, and this committee is presided by Josue Martinez. He is a coffee farmer, producer, and exporter. Café de Guatemala is a history of 100 years. We involve over 125 families divided into 8 regions, and each region works by taking care on a daily basis of the coffee harvest. What is our goal? As an institution, we want to trade and commercialize Guatemala's specialty coffee to be enjoyed abroad because of their quality, consistency, the flavor, the freshness, and the organoleptic characteristics that the market expects of us. Let me show you how we produce Guatemala's special coffees. They are prepared in friendly ecosystems with agricultural systems where 80% is handled in production. As you can see, 80% in this picture, we have 80% in production, 20% restoration. We work with variety gardens where we can define the qualities of what we want, the characteristics of the market, and how these systems work and are then reproduced. Something else that we've been strongly working on for the past few years is genetics and germplasm fields in order to improve coffee on a yearly basis. What do? We strengthen the technical capacity and traceability of our coffee. We conveniently position Guatemala's coffees in the different markets. We are able to deal with the huge diversity of quality coffees that we have, the microclimates, and we can satisfy the demand of the whole planet. Something else that we've developed is our quality control. We do quality control in our coffee copy lab. We work with different samples that we present to the international market with the qualities and characteristics that each of our clients demand from us. We've been working with South America, North America, European, and Asian markets, and there's high levels of satisfaction with regards to the Guatemalan product. Producing a cup of special coffee in Guatemala, just like with every other ecosystem, entails a lot. We need to mention this ever since the production system up to getting to the roasted coffee grain and a coffee cup that each of us can enjoy on a daily basis. Well, that takes 5 years of our work, 5 years between choosing the mother plant, the reproductive seeds, the materials, the stabilizing the plant on the field, the agroecological management of the system of coffee up until you get to enjoy a cup of coffee. Generally, we think that it's just 10 minutes of a coffee maker to just make you a cup of coffee, or 15 minutes for a barista to make your coffee, but that's not true. The coffee farmers' efforts are 5 years long, right? So if you enjoy a cup of coffee now, please know everything that is entailed in getting that coffee to you. So this is our coffee from our country and our production of Guatemala. Our 2022-2023 harvest of coffee in Guatemala, we produce 3.27 million 60-kilogram sacks. What does Guatemala export throughout the world? We account for 2.67% of the total world exports. Something that needs to be said is that the whole planet wants to buy Guatemalan coffee beans. We have a finite production, so this is a favorable position for our country. The market is highly competitive towards Guatemalan coffee beans. So it's important to know that if you want to purchase Guatemalan coffee beans, you need to be ahead of the harvest. That is, our commercial opening for our 2024-2025 harvest opening started on June 2024. Buyers are calling us, are setting up appointments, and are requesting their coffee beans to get the quality beans.
So we serve 49% North America, 26% Europe, 22% Asia, and 3% others. You see there the diversity, and we work on direct trade from the farmer to the importer. And this allowed us to do the traceability and to have the real origin of that coffee. We have exported 3.5 quintals in terms of volume, and the generation of currency in the past 10 years in Guatemala is around 900 million US dollars for the coffee sector in Guatemala. So what do we do for our coffee production? Well, we work with regenerative agriculture, with the right management of natural resources, with QC from the farm, with post-harvesting, industrialization, and exporting process. And this way, the favorable conditions that we have in our weather allows us to have the behavior of these plants and their adaptation. And our volcanic soils, well, we have 37 volcanoes in Guatemala. We are surrounded by them. You can see this in this picture, one, two, three volcanoes, one next to each other. So these are very rich areas, and that generates more than 300 microclimates with altitudes from 300 to 1900 meters over the sea level. We have different production for the temperature between 14 and 30 degrees Celsius, and we have also rivers, lakes, two oceans. So the diversity and the richness of our natural resources favor our coffee ecosystems. Here we can see our landscape, and it's not only a pleasure to see this landscape and the harvest and the cultural and tradition richness that we have around coffee in Guatemala. Here we have an active volcano, and not only that volcano that has been there for 100 years. And I mean, we have volcanoes for a long time here. And every time I look at the window here in my office, I see that volcano working, and that generated our special resources. And in our regenerative agriculture, we work with soil conservation, with the incorporation of organic matter, the plant protection, the use of solar energy for drying coffee, and also we benefit from all of the resources surrounding us for the production of each grain of coffee that is exported to the different international markets in order to satisfy the demands of production. And our production systems, as you can see here on screen, we also have biological and cultural control of plagues. We incorporate organic matter in these production processes, 150,000 farmers. Each one of them works the entire process. And then we have the coffee industry involved for the final part. And as you can see on the screen, this decomposition of the organic matter has been very helpful for us. Soil management also crucial, because the most important being in the production sector for natural resources is the soil, and we are very much concerned about the soil in order to sustain life and to give the right conditions to it. We also work on corporate social responsibility. We are concerned also about people involved in all these processes. And as you can see, the stability of our soils and the weather in our country is great for coffee production. We have mature products with great characteristics, and our coffee cuts have this amazing quality, and this has led us to have a good management of coffee. We try it to the sun with the right condition given by our weather, and also the QC in our labs is present in order to assess each one of the grains that we are exporting and delivering to the market. Our warehouses includes every batch. We have industrial processes as well to support the exports and serve the markets. And these are our certifications to serve the different international markets. All of this makes Guatemala present in many markets in the world. We export coffee from Guatemala to many countries, and we have our industrial process to do so. This is a profitable niche for our country, and we see our business as this golden grain. If we can do it, then we will need to have the highest possible added value in order to reach consumers with high demand. So we are after a win-win relationship between exporters and importers, and also farmers and exporters. We want farmers to really receive benefits for each cup of coffee that is enjoyed all over the world. This year, we organized for the third time the Coffee Trade, which is a fair that we organize in our country. This was done from the 13th to the 15th of March in Guatemala, with more than 150 international booths. We would like to thank the Canadian Embassy in Guatemala, and also we would like to thank you for all of your interest in our product. We have our training program, as you can see on screen, that has received the endorsement of University Rafael Landívar, and this has helped us as a foundation to implement this program. And we are about to start our 22nd edition, and this is an online program. So if you'd like to participate, please join us. And this training course has had colleagues from Honduras, Mexico, and other countries as well. So this is all for me. It was a pleasure to share my experience with you. Thank you.
Muy bonita presentación. Felicidades, Sergio.
Lovely presentation. Congrats, Sergio. Now let's watch the video.
All coffees from Guatemala develop a delicious aroma, acidity, brightness, consistent body, and delicate sweetness. In every coffee region of the country, these attributes have special characteristics which result in unique cup profiles. All these cup profiles have allowed Guatemalan coffees to be appreciated in the North American, Asian, Oceanian, and European markets, positioning Guatemala among the top 10 high-quality coffee exporting countries.
Genial, gracias. Después de Guatemala pasamos.
Thank you very much. Now let's move on to Honduras with René Madrid, General Manager for Prexel. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is René Madrid. I'm the General Manager of a farming company here in Honduras, Proexo, and I'm also the co-founder of the first agricultural exporting farm here. And today we are going to be presenting what we call Café de Mujeres. This is a brand that has added value here in Honduras. The name is Brisas. And we are going to be introducing it soon. Next, please. Next slide, please. Hello, can you hear me? Can you move on to the next slide? Next slide. I'm receiving support with the slides from your team. Just a second, please. Just a sec.
Se congeló la pantalla un momentito.
Just a sec. Okay, let me give you some context about Proexo.
Hola.
Hello.
No sé si alcanzan a ver hoy.
Can you see the screen now? Yeah, we see the slides, yes.
Quizás René puede hablar usted de su empresa, el café, mientras esperamos las
Maybe you can talk about your company while we wait for the slides. Yeah, let me share with you about Proexo. We are a specialty coffee farming company located at the south of the country, and our company was founded in 2016 with coffee production and trading following international standards. We have certifications, international certifications, such as Fair Trade, Rainforest Alliance, organic, following the organic rules and regulations for North America and Europe. And we also have a standard called Manos de Mujer, women's hands. We have 272 producers, 52 of them are women and 220 are men. We work with varieties from 90, Catuai, Obatá, Parainema, Lempira, and our farms are located between 1,000 and 1,800 meters above the sea level. Our company is a social economy company. Therefore, it aims at contributing with social, environmental, and financial sustainability of the company and its farmers. And our services include technical assistance at the farm, revalorization of organic residues, project management, funding pre and post harvesting, transportation and logistics services, and all type of processing from humid to dry in order to work towards specialty coffee. Added value such as roasting, QC, and commercialization and marketing. Next, please.
Voy a hablarles un poco acerca de las mujeres
Now
que son
I will tell you about the female producers or farmers in Proexo. We have 52 women farmers located in the area of Copan, Lempira, and Ocotepeque, and their farms are located at 1,000 to 1,800 meters above the sea level. And they produce 8,000 bags of 46 kilograms. So how did we come up with this brand creation? In 2022, we organized an experience exchange with Colombia in the area of Valle del Cauca in order to get to know the experience of female coffee farmers there. And we wanted to work towards the financial empowerment of women. And then we organized a similar workshop with our farmers, and we devoted a day to this female empowerment in order to be able to develop a brand. Our farmers met at our headquarters, and there we organized an exchange day that led to the creation of our brand. Next, please. So, how did we come up with this packaging? Well, as you saw before, and as you can see on the first picture here, this was an idea developed together with the farmers and also with the solidarity in Latin America and GYZ, which is a company that helped us too. There was a graphic designer that was hired in order to receive the ideas of the farmers for the packaging. And as you will see, there is a label there with the picture and a QR code where you can obtain all the information of that farmer. And this is also part of the traceability that we offer here because we can show the history and the story of the farm the story of the farmer, the certifications of their farm, and any other characteristics of their coffee. Next slide, please. And as you can see here, we have a brief video showing the process of traceability that is being requested nowadays by consumers. There you can have some background information about the farmer, geo-reference information, the varieties, the certifications. And actually now, in order to comply with the new regulation for European markets, we are trying to be able to see the farm itself. So how did we come up with these colors? Well, you can have a look at the package here because these are the colors of our brand. And we did a market research here in Honduras, in the north, the west, and the center of the country, in order to hear from consumer and their preferences. And we chose light blue for changes in the sky, such as rain that is there to feed coffee farms. Then this beige is for the mountains where our coffee comes from. Purple representing the financial empowerment of women and their rights. And this navy blue that represents stability, loyalty, commitment, and financial power. So now my colleague, sister Claudia Molina, she has an international certification in cupping, and she will talk about specialty coffee, and she will explain why our coffee in Proexo is specialty coffee. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. To me, it is an honor to share my knowledge with you. I was born here in Corpan. I am a barista and I have 10 years of experience in roasting and cupping. And I will tell you a little bit about specialty coffee in Proexo. But first of all, I would like to mention the 6 regions that we work with in Honduras. We have Copan, which is Copan, Orcotepeque, and Santa Barbara, the region of Opalaca, Santa Barbara, Intibucay, and Lempira. We have the Montesinos region, which is La Paz, Comayagua, Santa Barbara, and Intibucá. We have Comayagua, and Francisco Morazán. We have Sagalta, next to Jolanco, Lloro, Atlántida, and Coló. And the last one, which is the region of El Paraíso, located at the area of El Paraíso. We are located in the Copan region, and each one of these regions have coffee characteristics with their own profiles. In the case of Copan, we have quite a sweet coffee with some chocolate flavors with a balanced and creamy body and very consistent. And we have this niche, which is sweet, just like our people. And this is what we can say about our region here in Copa. Also, I wanted to mention the following. This year, we had our 20th edition of what we call Taza de Excelencia. And here we obtain 7 presidential coffees. And now I will tell you a little bit about specialty coffee. I would like to say that we follow the standards of the SCA, the Association of Special Coffees, and a coffee with more than 90 points is considered special coffee. However, to us, specialty coffee is especially to know where this coffee is coming from and who's the farmer. The more information that we have about that coffee, well, that makes it more and more special.
So here you can see a summary of what a specialty coffee is. It's a combination of attributes or traits of a product. Please let's go back one slide. This is the set of attributes or characteristics of a product, defining its acceptance level by consumers. Single origin coffee is the term used to talk about a coffee that comes from a unique or a single geographical region. In order for us to get a specialty coffee, we address all of these things. The first of all needs to be having a passionate farmer or producer. We need to select the batch, just one variety, and then we go to the process. We identify first the kind of process that it's going to have. It's going to be a honey, a natural, or a wash process. Then we take the pulp off, we classify the beans, we monitor that. Then we do the fermentation step. We wash and classify the beans, and then we dry and store the beans. Afterwards, we have the quality control. Next slide, please. As I said, then we move on to quality control, which is cupping. That is one of the most important parts of our job. That is because it's responsible of inspecting, managing, and controlling the quality of in each of the processes. In this quality control department, we do different analyses. The first thing that we analyze is the physical side of things, the green coffee. Then we do the granulometric analysis, the size of the bean, then the roasting, and lastly, the sensory side of controls. Moving on. For us, it's extremely important that our staff and the ones in charge of quality control possess knowledge about every single stage. The baristas always must know about how to do cupping, how to roast, and how to be a barista. In any case, the cuppers or the ones in charge of cupping are all knowledgeable the whole process as well, because everything is intertwined. As you can see in the screen, it says, what is being a barista? What is barismo? Well, this is just the stage in which our product, our raw material, is actually getting to the end of the process. It is extremely important that you know this and that we know this in order to extract all of the attributes that our wonderful coffee beans have. So, if you think about barismo, it's a work where you prepare beverages based on coffees, and baristas are the people who are specialized in preparing beverages based on coffee, with milk, with chocolate, with spices, even with liquors or spirits. This is then my presentation. Can we move on to the next slide? This is our website that was created for online shopping. This is the Café de Honduras website for us. It's now it's national sales, but we can do international sales in the future. We are part of the United States and the Canadian market. We're also in Europe, in Switzerland, in Denmark, in the Netherlands, Germany, the UK, France, Belgium, Italy, Australia, and also in South Africa. As producers, we are committed to work and maintain fair, long-lasting, and long-term business relationships, guaranteeing and ensuring the quality of our coffee. This is our QR code, so you can follow us in our different social media, to our website as well. You can visit there, and we have already exported the first Brisas coffee, the green gold coffee, to Canada, and hopefully we'll continue growing abroad. Please, I would like to say hi to Dr. Beatriz Valle, our ambassador from Honduras, and to her whole team. Thank you. It is a pleasure to see everything that is being done in Honduras and the places where we're exporting our coffee to. And it's beautiful to see this women-owned coffee, Café de Mujeres Brisas. Thank you for being here.
En estas noches claras del Caribe, hay un rumor que en horas se percibe. Flota la brisa de un pasado intenso, flota un calor pesado, hermoso y denso. Y de repente aparece serena.
Sincere thanks, Renee. Great product. Obviously, very important for many consumers in the Canadian government with their feminist policy in terms of products made by women. Congratulations. I'd like to invite Panama now. We have 2 countries left before we end. So Panama and Dominican Republic. The next speaker is Maria Ruiz. She's from the Specialty Coffee Association of Panama, and we'll be speaking to geisha coffee.
Muy buenos días. Es un
Good
gusto
day to you all. It is a pleasure for me to share this moment with you, to share some of our experiences on what is nowadays known worldwide as the Panama Geisha coffee. Let's move on. For us, it was a surprise to actually be able to have this within our lands. As you can see on our first slide, this is a graphical representation of the real sizes of our own countries. And for us, particularly for me, because I'm a 4th generator of coffee farmers here in Borquete. So I've always wondered, right, how could we really, being such a small country, vis-a-vis so many other groups of producers, how could we be successful in this? So we were one of the last countries to actually start growing coffee in the area. And this is something that has made it possible for us to see that there was truly a great opportunity for coffee in our area. As for the history of Panama Geisha, well, it's almost a 100-year-old history. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Next, please. Next. Thank you. The previous one, please. There we go. The geisha story began in 1931 with an expedition by the English people from Kenya to Ethiopia to pick up seeds and to further promote coffee production in Africa. Then afterwards it went to Tanzania 4 years after it had been produced in Kenya and reproduced from the Ethiopian Geisha Mountains. So it moved on to the research center in Tanzania, which was monitored by the British at around 1936. Then it moved on to Costa Rica in 1953. And at the Panama region, it reached about by 1960, although the first records that we have is from 1971, getting to our farms. We have the story that coffee was brought here to verify which varieties could be the best for the region. That was the main reason why growers and farmers brought this coffee to Panama. If we move on to 2004, that was the year when this variety was discovered as a high quality variety. Currently, so we've had about 20 years experience working with this variety. For us, can we move on with the slides, please? For us, coffee farmers, it was a challenge. Please, next slide. It was a challenge to work here because in the Republic of Panama, we have a very small mountain range vis-a-vis other countries and neighboring countries. We're currently working on producing 200,000 quintals of coffee in comparison with other producers in the area. Well, we cannot compete due to our volume. And also, we have a dollarized economy, which makes us more expensive in terms of production costs. So we cannot compete due to our price either. So, well, this was a process that had begun in about 1995, in which we started to trying to create specialty varieties that could be used for competing with other specialty coffees. This didn't really start in 1997. Back in 1983, we started working with the definition of specialty coffee. By 1987, we became the pioneers in cupping activities so that coffee farmers would really be able to identify within their own batches, after their own processes, what were the varieties that could honestly provide additional benefits based on the cups of coffee that they made. Next. The area that we have here is quite particular. We're very close to the Caribbean and to the Pacific as well. This is what creates our own terroir. That is, we not only have to consider us coffee farmers and coffee producers, we need to consider our latitude, our longitude, our altitude, and our topography as well, in order to be able to identify the microclimates that are highly favorable for varieties like geisha. The most important thing we've learned about this geisha variety is that it is susceptible to representing our terroir. That has helped us identify our own biodiversity. Let's move on, please. What are the most important traits that we've found? And as I said, this was a surprise to us because it really challenged us coffee farmers to test this geisha coffee, which was so different from the other coffees. We thought it was a mistake. Something had been done poorly. And then we happened to get this coffee that was floral, citric, with tropical and non-tropical fruit notes. One of the more appreciated and valued traits of this new variety back then was that we could find jasmine, lavender, azar, roses, and hibiscus floral notes, which was something that had never really happened in such a blatant way before. Then we had citric notes like bergamot, mandarin. We also found tangerine, orange, lemon, lime, and then non-tropical fruits like apricot, peach, nectarine, cherry, or apples. As for tropical fruits, we had mango, papaya, pineapple, rose apple, coconut, and lychee. This truly was outstanding. So what is specialty, considering our geisha coffee? Well, it was a matter of working on paying attention to the details and trying to see how we could get the flavors and the fragrances that we hadn't seen before, so that, and how we could maintain them in time so that they could be sustainable. We needed to know how to create that and how to sustain production. Where do you we need to put to grow the batch? What kind of shadows they needed? All of this led to new knowledge. We had to know what a terroir was. Every farmer needed to know about their terroir. Then we needed to have some on-site field teams that were trained and qualified in working with their own particular farms. Then it was necessary to have some cupping team, and also it was necessary to have someone leading the operation, which generally is the owner, and owners have become professionals in managing their own coffee. So the geisha coffee put before us this challenge of finding stability on a yearly basis. We're still learning about this. This is a very interesting variety that has quickly expanded throughout the world. But as we saw before, this variety is linked and dependent on each farm's parameters. This is why every farm and every work producer in every farm needs to learn how to grow the coffee, but also needs to learn how to roast it and how to sell it as well. This is what creates a feedback loop that enables us to you have one more minute, Maria. As I said, it enables us to be dynamic when it comes to the value chain. It forces us to have a technology at the base of our work, because technology will provide us with reliability vis-a-vis the market. In the Panamanian case, we've managed to achieve this like this with the best of Panama by using electronic options, which we've been working on since 2002. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maria. That was a very interesting video presentation, and we have a video as well.
So coffee in Panama is all picked by hands. It's a craft industry and by no means a massive industry. So definitely no machine picking. The indigenous communities, the Nove community, they have been picking coffee and working with coffee for generations. They really take care of their lands, and it's really our legacy. And we try to keep it that way for people living in Panama and for people visiting Panama, interested in Panama's coffee and Panama geisha. And that way they can appreciate its beauty and hopefully come again. Because when people visit, they give back to these small communities who will then continue to prosper and thrive.
Bonito video, gracias, Jessica.
That was a beautiful video. Thank you, Jessica. Let's listen to our final country today. From Dominican Republic, we will be hearing Ramon Javier Baez from the Santo Domingo Coffee Institute. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure for me to be here with you. I am Ramon Javier. I am in charge of the academic side of the Santo Domingo Coffee Institute. This is a training center, the only training center that is certified by the SCA. We have been working for over 7 years, connected, working with coffee in Santo Domingo. Café Santo Domingo is a company, part of the Induban, Industrias Vanilejas. This was a company founded in 1945. Our main brand is Café Santo Domingo, and this company is fully dedicated to the coffee industry, the full chain from the seed or the bean to the cup. This is the largest purchaser of coffee at the national level to small and medium Dominican producers. We own 2 large coffee farms with latest avant-garde technology in the Dominican Republic.
We also have an important portfolio of products, and today we're going to be discussing great single origin coffee, which is a way for us to show how excellent it is our coffee farming in the Dominican Republic. And now I will tell you about this Gran Origen. So what is single origin coffee? This is coffee produced or farmed in a specific geographical area, in this case, in a specific farm. And normally it has limited production. What makes it special? What was the purpose of launching single origin coffee? First, to celebrate Dominican coffee with a selection of special origin in the country, to offer an exclusive product with unique features, and as a leading company in this category, to keep on fostering the excellence of coffee farming in the DR. As you know, we are the leading company, the leading coffee company here in the Dominican Republic. And this is the map of the Dominican Republic. And these are the three most fertile areas for coffee in our country. And these are the three Gran Origen or Great Single Origin coffees. This was the last launch of our company in Duban, and we have these three areas with enough altitude. And if you see, first, I'm going to be talking about Suardi variety. This is done in our own farms in Induan, and the average altitude is from 850 to 950 meters above the sea level. And this coffee is 100% Arabica with an aroma of chocolate, nuts, and floral notes. As I said before, this is Dominican Arabica. Its origin is Rancho Arriba, San Jose de Ocoa region. And the touches of flavor are chocolate, nuts, and floral. And the cup profile is brilliant acidity and an important body. And in terms of roasting, in order to be able to perceive these notes of flavor, is medium to clear. And the process that we do for this coffee is the washing, dried to the sun. And each one of these coffees that I will explain afterwards go through a grain verification process for size, density, and color. We have a lab here with avant-garde technology in order to perform the QC for all of our grains. Then we launched Barahona, and this is cropped in Polo Barahona region. And this is how we received coffee here in the Dominican Republic in 1726. This is also Arabica, Dominican Arabica, Tupi variety, with notes of flavor, caramel, and tropical fruits. And the cup profile has a delicate acidity, a moderate body, and the touches of flavor that you will perceive in it. And given the area where it grows, you'll be able to perceive all of these notes or touches that I have just mentioned. The next one is called Gran Sierra. This coffee has its origin in San Jose de las Matas near Santiago in the northern area of the country. And this coffee grows at an average altitude between 1,000 and 1,050 meters above the sea level. And given its area, we can perceive chocolate, nuts, and tropical citrus notes. It has sweet acidity and a perfect balance And the roasting is medium dark, where we try to highlight those positive notes that we seek in it. And as I mentioned before, these three coffees are sought by every Dominicans because they just wanted to see something different in our country. And that's how we created these three new different varieties. They are 100% Arabica, they are Dominican, and with notes which are completely different. And for us, it was a pleasure to be here with you to introduce these three different coffees. And if you have questions, you can write them on the chat, and I'm here for you. Thank you very much.
¿Tenemos un video, Jessica?
Is there a video, Jessica? Three of the coffee areas, which are the most fertile, give origin to three different harvests that we can share with everyone in the Dominican Republic, from Barahona, Perla Roja, with caramel and this fruit taste. Rancho Arriba will give us the Suardi with the aroma of nuts, chocolate, and floral notes. And from our central mountains, the Grand Sierra, with some fruity notes. With this new coffee and its different varieties, we are here to tell you how proud we are to keep on bringing the best of our coffee to every home in the Dominican Republic. Nice video. Thank you all very much. Good product. We tasted it. Now, before closing, we'd like to devote 5 minutes to invite my colleague from Costa Rica, Harold Gamboa, is the technical specialist for the crop rank of bioeconomy development and specialist from the Institute. Harold? Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to greet everyone here, and I would like to congratulate the speakers because very briefly, they've been able to present their products in an excellent way. In general terms, I will express some general comments. And first, we could stress that in the SICA region, coffee farming and the institutions responsible for the sector keep on working and innovating in a committed way in order to farm, produce, and process coffee, which is part of the Central American culture. The region has been working with different varieties of high potential, of quality, processes being demanded by the current trends of the market, and also they are doing efforts in order to move forward in a more integral way with the actors of the chain in order to improve the financial, social, and environmental sustainability as mentioned before. Moreover, we see an important commitment in the region to pursue, oh, I'm sorry, I received a message here about the language, but you can hear me okay, right?
Perfecto.
Yes, we can. Okay, great. So I was saying that there's also an important commitment here in the region in order to try and improve the quality of life of the farmers. However, we see that there are important gaps to close. When talking about specialty coffee, this connects us directly to the market and therefore to the trends of the international markets. And it is worth mentioning that we should be very clear about how these trends answer to the behavior, the attitudes, and expectations of all the people. And people change, and our consumption habits and purchasing habits also change. This is very dynamic, and these changes are analyzed by experts all over the world in different ways. And this is why it is so important for us to be very up to date in terms of market trends and how the market is changing and what are those turning points and where these business opportunities might arise. Therefore, within those trends of the international market, which are a lot, and we won't be able to discuss all of them today, but actually they do shape the market. And specialty coffee is very important for consumers, and consumers are always trying to find competitive prices. However, they also appreciate quality coffees offered by these brands. And this coffee is appreciated because, as shared by the different speakers, specialty coffee is characterized by its high levels of quality and by the fact that in each step of its journey from crops to the preparation is constantly monitored to assess how to improve and innovate in the processes. And origin is a very important issue here as well. This is how Honduras, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Panama shared about this because this origin might have an important impact in the profile and flavor of a coffee, even in the same variety as Panama has just shared. And within that context, it is worth highlighting that, for example, talking about millennials, quality for them is more important than quantity. And in the US, there are several studies proving this. Millennials are choosing specialty coffee and they have it more than any other generation. And there's a study conducted by the S&D Coffee and Tea, and they studied the consumption of coffee by millennials, and they actually reinforced this that I'm telling you. And the study reveals how, when making a purchase decision, millennials are much more concerned about the origin of the coffee and how this coffee was roasted and what is the brand and where it comes from. Moreover, I would like to mention that in the Western world and emerging markets, it is becoming more and more important the use of natural ingredients in the production of beverages such as coffee. And this aspect is considered more and more fundamental for final consumers who perceive the product not only as a beverage, but also as an experience for the senses. So, sharing a product with a natural image, with the right physical looks and a combination of exotic flavors and diverse textures, well, consumers will link that directly to high quality. And as Claudia and Rene from Honduras explained, clients are also after a story. They want to know what's behind the product that they're buying. And another trend in the international market that we clearly saw during the presentations is also related to how people demand brands with more or higher ethical commitments. Therefore, consumers don't only want for brands to satisfy their needs or wants, they also expect for brands to have an ethical commitment reflecting their values as companies, as Marcela also mentioned. But this is not only about a temporary commitment. No, consumers want to see measurable, consistent, and transparent actions from the brands that they are trying to support, as Costa Rica's Coffee Institute presented with their transparency and sustainability model in production. So I believe that brands need to make sure that these ethical practices are not only a consideration, but for them to be a fixed characteristic in their business models, also with long-term strategies, like in the case and comments in Guatemala's presentation? Well, since I don't have much time, I just wanted to close by saying how important it is for us to bear in mind these market trends, because these trends, even though there are a lot, are the ones that will generate business opportunities. Thank you, JC, and thank you all very much. On the contrary, thank you, Harold. Excellent final remarks. And I would like to add half an hour so that we can keep on talking and have some coffee all together. And I'm sorry, Renee, for the technical problems that we had with your slides. But well, I would like to thank the interpreters for staying with us for a couple more minutes. Well, to me, this is an incredible product. There are so many opportunities for growth in the industry, in your farms, brands, industries. And here we are going to go grab some coffee and then come back. I would like to thank the team in Ottawa. I would like to thank all the speakers.
I'm learning.
Thank you, Harold.
Oradores, it's a good word. I'm going to use that.
And I would like to send you hugs from Canada. Congratulations on your companies and all the best. Thank you all very much.
Muchas gracias, muchos saludos.
Gracias.
Bye-bye. Thank you. We'd love to see you in El Salvador.